those poets on all those worlds who spoke of war as such an unsightly thing, they never stood here.
Hello everyone and welcome to another movie review by Centipede Geek. Today I'm going to talk about a film by the name of Flight. This film was released in the year 2012. It stars Denzel Washington. Robert Zemeckis is the director of Flight, and he has done films such as the Back to the Future franchise. He also did Forrest Gump back in '94. He also did Castaway in 2000, and his most recent film besides Flight was the animated film called A Christmas Carol back in 2009, the year. This is actually his first live-action feature since, I believe, What Lies Beneath and Castaway back in 2000. So it's been quite a few years, about 12 years actually, since he's done a live-action feature. So anyways, let's get straight to the plot of the 2012 film titled Flight, starring, of course, Denzel Washington. This film is pretty much about a guy that he's an addict. Denzel plays a guy that is an addict. He's addicted to cocaine. He's a recovering alcoholic. Drinks alcohol pretty much. A very heavy drinker. Drinks alcohol every day of his life. Well, he just so happens to get drunk on the day that he has to fly a plane. For what state I forget. Anyways, he has to fly a plane to a certain state. Well, he's drunk during the flight, and I don't want to say too much what happens. But while they're flying, a storm happens, things start to go wrong inside of the plane itself, and bad things turn out to go even worse than they already are. And I don't want to say too much more, but there's also a girl actress that is involved that Denzel Washington meets along the way of his journey throughout the movie. And this girl is also sort of a recovering addict. She's also addicted to, needles and stuff like that, and they meet in the hospital, and I don't want to say too much more because I don't want to give it too much more of the movie. But anyways, that's pretty much the central plot of the 2012 film titled Flight, starring Denzel Washington. Now, one of the first and great things I want to say about this film, of course, I want to talk about Denzel Washington's performance in the movie titled Flight. He, if not, is probably the best thing about this film, and I would even go as far to say this is probably, if not, his best performance to date. I like him in the film called Deja Vu, years ago. I also liked him in The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3. Both are great films, but I would say Flight is just on par with those, and his performance might even be better than those films. Because when you get down to it, Denzel Washington plays a guy by the name of Whip, or his actual name's Whitaker, but Whip is pretty much, it's a character study movie. The movie studies the character of a recovering alcoholic, and he's trying to recover from, he's a divorced husband. He doesn't have a very good relationship with his family and all. And I just loved his acting. His acting was great. Definitely one of the best things about the movie. Honestly, I haven't really seen too many films that Robert has directed. I wasn't too fond of Forrest Gump. It's just not my cup of tea, I guess. I do like the first Back to the Future film. It's the only Back to the Future film I've seen in the Back to the Future franchise. But I would have to say, definitely, The Flight is probably my favorite film that he's done. Beowulf I thought was decent. I haven't seen anything else though. I've only seen Beowulf, Back to the Future, and Forrest Gump. But definitely Flight is probably my favorite film that he has most recently done, because it was just such a great movie. Really knows how to make you feel for the character of Denzel Washington. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, the guy can kind of be a dummy sometimes. He doesn't always make the best decisions in this movie. You see him, pick up the bottle and you're like, don't go back to what you're doing. Don't go back to what you used to do. And Denzel Washington doesn't always make the best choices in this movie, but even though his character doesn't always make the best choices, Robert Zemeckis still knows how to make you feel for that character, and it makes you feel for the character the entire time while watching it, even though Denzel doesn't always make the right choices. So overall, just a great kind of drama, thriller, really knows how to make you feel for the character. Like I said, John Goodman's also in this, and he doesn't play a major role, but he does play a supporting actor in this movie, and I thought he was really cool too. He's pretty much the guy that supplies Denzel with his coke or cocaine, and I really like John Goodman's character. But overall, Flight's just a really cool drama movie, and this is probably the first movie in a while to actually make me get a little teary-eyed. I cried during. Honestly, I'm kind of a sucker for some emotional films, and Rise of the Guardians was actually a pretty kind of a tearjerker for me. And then I saw Titanic back earlier this year in 3D, and that was a huge tearjerker because it was my first time watching it all the way through. But Flight, I think, was the first, film that came out this year that actually made me cry a lot. And I won't say why, but I was bawling my eyes out the entire ending sequence. Not just because of what happens at the end, but the way the characters turn out. And I was crying at, certain scenes in certain places. And then, I saw the ending and I was like, what the heck? And then it's just a great movie. I love movies that can pull at your heartstrings, still make you feel for the characters, and then they still have a great ending also. Fun fact about the movie. I thought this was kind of a fun fact. Let's see. Where's it at? Just give me a second. Quick second here. Trying to find the article. I don't know where it's at, but of course, the plane sequence in this movie was actually inspired by. So overall, Flight is just a really great film. One more quick thing about Flight. This guy is not even really a supporting role in the film, but he's only in the film for maybe a 5 or 10 minute sequence. He's smoking a cigarette. Anyways, there's a sequence with, I won't say exactly what happens, but there's a sequence with a girl sitting on the stairs, Denzel Washington's character standing up smoking near the stairs, and then a guy with cancer walks up with his little oxygen tube thing or whatever, and he walks up the stairs, and they all three have this conversation about God, because this movie, just so you guys know, does have a lot of religious undertones. Not really even undertones. They make the religion actually a pretty high element in the movie. It's not really even an undertone. They make it very evident that God is exactly what they're talking about. So anyways, they have a conversation about cancer and about God and about cigarettes, and I really like the conversation between those three. One of my favorite sequences in the film. Besides, my favorite sequences it's probably the first 28 or first 30 minutes of the movie. The plane sequence is really cool, but I have to say, hands down, my favorite part, besides the plane sequence, really great way to open up the movie, first 30 minutes, get your attention right when you start the movie, is definitely, I'd say, at the last 20 minutes of the movie. That is the section where I just bawled my eyes out. I couldn't control myself because the movie was just so great. Flight, starring Denzel Washington in the year 2012, is definitely worth a watch. If you have not seen it, definitely check it out. One of the best films of 2012, hands down. Anyways, that's my review for the 2012 film titled Flight, starring Denzel Washington. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe to my page below, and I will see you guys later with another movie review by Cinepede Geek.